Hello everyone, welcome to another video from BetfairTradingCommunity.com. I'm going to talk about a new tournament today, and that tournament is the Club World Cup. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I would trade a tournament like this, and the idea of this actually is not really to talk much about how you can implement this right now in the Club World Cup, because as this video goes out, it's probably going to be pretty late on in the tournament, but it's to think about how when you get the opportunity to trade tournaments like this in the future, what you should do and what you can do to make your Betfair trading better. Okay, so let's get into it today. Very simply, we're going to have a look at some of the results so far. I'm going to talk about my psychology of trading something like the Club World Cup. Now, what's interesting with the Club World Cup, and I'll get to the results here, but what's interesting with the Club World Cup is that basically it's a new tournament. Now, okay, there has been a Club World Cup many times for many years. Usually it's just a handful of teams. Usually it just ends up with the champions of South America playing the champions of Europe, okay? They used to have an Intercontinental Cup. That would probably just have done the job in the last few years, but they expanded it a little bit. And I think it got to 7 teams before this format, which obviously has loads more teams and many more teams from Europe, many more teams from South America and other parts of the world. So when you're coming into a tournament like this as a Betfair trader, the first thing you're going to want to do is take a step back. Because, see, and I think this is often what defines Betfair traders, serious investors in sports betting, and the difference between that side of it and those who just go into Betfair, put a tenner on the match because they're watching it that night and they're bored, right? And it's really important to make that distinction here. So here's why you take a step back if you're trying to take sports betting seriously. We haven't seen this tournament before. So if you're going in and you're trading a tournament, you want to have some background knowledge. Well, you're not going to have any here because this is so different to the previous Club World Cup that it's almost like actually just worth taking a step back and seeing exactly what it is first. I'll give you an example of this. The Champions League this year. The league format changed the initial competition so much that it actually made the trading of the games and things feel very different to when they were playing in the group phase. You didn't get a lot of these dead rubbers in the final fixture, did you? All the final fixtures happen at the same time. There were lots of differences that can affect how teams play and their motivations. And that always needs to be at the forefront of your trading, especially when you're trading in cup competitions. Now, don't be fooled by the name Champions League. The Champions League is very much a cup competition. It just starts with that league phase, which isn't even a traditional league phase because you don't play every team. And you don't play every team twice. You don't even play every team once. Okay, so it's almost a very unbalanced league in a lot of ways. Now, the Club World Cup obviously goes kind of similar to the World Cup format or the Euros format, where you play in these mini leagues, you play everyone once, and then I think it's the top 2 that progress from each group. Now, when you're trading this situation, in terms of the individual matches themselves, I say take a step back. Don't trade them really early on. See what the motivation of the team are, see how seriously teams are taking it, and see how the teams are looking. Try and get a feel for that. Now, it was pointed out on the BetfairTradingCommunity.com forum that PSG were really good value at 6.0. One of our members suggested that. I actually backed that up. It's on the forum if you want to go and see it. And at 6.0, they were phenomenal value. I've talked about this a bit more in depth in a previous podcast, which you can go and listen to. But the point is, that price after the first match, and we've got it here, PSG 4, Atletico 0, came into 4.3. Now, the first match of a group phase should not move the needle that much on a price. The only reason it's done it is that the market is basically, what it's doing is correcting itself. The market realises it made a mistake. It seemed like a pretty obvious mistake given how PSG have done this year, and it's corrected itself. 4.3, much more around where PSG's price should be. I'd probably still have it shorter. But here's the key. Remember, you might find some value in outright markets in these kinds of tournaments. And that's where often there is a lot of value to be had. This member spotted that PSG swing. They could have traded 6.0 to 4.3. Bang, they've locked in a really nice profit already. And this is the point. By the time you're watching this video, PSG could have been knocked out, for all I know, right? But it doesn't matter. You've made your money already. Or you could take your liability out at 4.3. You're sitting with a nice free bet on PSG. And if they do go on to win it or even get further in the tournament, you could either take a bigger green later on or take all the profit if they win it, okay? And you're in a no-risk situation. So that's the kind of situation you want to get yourself in, if possible. But you've got to see glaring mistakes. And to me, that 6.0 on PSG was a glaring mistake. It was pretty obvious. It was pretty easy. I don't think it takes an expert trader to know that. And well spotted by the guy who spotted it on the forum. I won't name check him in case he doesn't want me to mention his name on here. But the point is this, right? We've now had the first round of matches. So here I am saying, right, take a step back and see what's going on. I want to have a quick look at some of the results, and I want to talk through how you can kind of trade matches like this moving forward and why it was sensible to take a step back. So the Inter Miami game, 0-0 against Al Ahly, okay? And actually there's a bit of a theme with the Al teams here. They actually, in general, did a bit better than I thought they would, okay? Bayern Munich, 10-0 Auckland City. I mean, you've got an amateur team playing the Club World Cup. It's nuts, right? If anything ever screamed of an Infantino cash grab, that's it. And people could point to it and go, well, yeah, but what about when Saudi Arabia are in the World Cup and they're losing 7-0? Kind of different, I feel, when it's actually a country, because they have had to go through some really tough qualifying phases. They have to be half decent. But this is just ridiculous. And given how the European teams, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, aren't really taking this mega serious yet, especially a lot of them, 10-0 could have been a lot more, couldn't it? So, yeah, this isn't good. I don't think this is good, and they're going to have to try and rectify that stuff as we go. As we go down, we talked about PSG, Palmeiras versus Porto, 0-0. Really good result for the South American side there. And we've actually seen that some of these Central American, South American sides have actually performed okay. Obviously, Botafogo winning, but they're playing North American side. Chelsea won 2-0. One of the most boring matches I've ever watched in my life. If you watch the intro to that match, this is why it's worth holding back sometimes. They were announcing all the players, and they've been doing this, I know, across the games. One by one. They're not coming out of the tunnel together. All the players look awkward. It's very Americanized, right? And I don't feel like the players really enjoy this stuff. It looked like a pre-season friendly, that much, okay? It looked like the teams weren't really that up for it. Chelsea, yeah, I mean, it was a really strange performance. They got the job done. But again, this is what you want to be aware of when you're trading, because you might think, well, Chelsea playing LAFC, yeah, they should win that 5-6-0. They probably should, but there's just something so lackluster about it. Again, we see South American team, Boca Juniors, actually a bit unlucky not to win that game. Really good performance from them. Flamenco won as well. This has been a really good tournament for South America when you look through these results. Fluminense, lots of draws, but key to that is that they're drawing against the really strong teams, projected strong teams in the group, like Dortmund, like Benfica. As we see here with Monterrey as well, Central American team, 1-1 against Inter. Really good result for them. Unlucky not to win it. They hit the post in the dying minutes. River Plate got a nice, comfortable win there. Al Hilal, a really, really good result against Real Madrid. And watching that game, Al Hilal were actually the better team. I don't think anyone could come away from... I was really annoyed because being an Inter fan, I kind of wanted Simone Inzaghi to just get smashed since he left us. But yeah, I mean, perhaps it shows a worrying trend that, you know, maybe these Saudi teams are better than we think they are, and they're going to, you know, actually be able to pop a fight on the world stage, which I think will surprise a few. I mean, I guess it shouldn't when you look at the kinds of players they have, but this is a game Real Madrid should be winning easily. And you watch it, and you're kind of torn between how seriously are these European teams taking it, and are they not? And I feel like there's a lot of sentiment that they are, because, you know, they rushed to sign players specifically for this tournament. They made sure they got Trent in for this tournament. You know, Inter rushed getting a manager and got Chivu, who's, you know, not really got any experience whatsoever, just to have someone in place in time for this tournament. So I feel like teams are taking it seriously, But I think it's very difficult to motivate yourself. It's the end of a season. You're not normally playing club matches at this time of year if you're a European team. A lot of these South American teams, they're kind of in the swing of their season, right? And I think that's part of what we are seeing here. Salzburg won, actually a decent result for them, because I really wasn't sure how Salzburg qualified for this tournament. If someone can work that one out for me, I'm very interested to hear it. Done nothing in Europe as far as I know for years and years. There's lots of teams in Europe that could have been in ahead of them, and they're not. I mean, you're sitting here in the Club World Cup, and you've not got teams like Liverpool, who just won the Premier League, and Barcelona just won the Spanish La Liga. I mean, it makes no sense to me. And by the way, Barcelona got to the semi-finals of the Champions League. It's not like they haven't done anything recently. I don't remember Salzburg ever doing anything like that. So yeah, it's utterly bizarre, but it is what it is. And FIFA's system, I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is a bit of a cash grab, this tournament, right? It feels like that. When you watch some of these games, it feels like that. The Monterrey Inter Milan game was quite a good game to watch. It was quite end-to-end, both teams going for it, and you could see the passion in the fans. And there have been some other matches like that. But, watching that Chelsea game, LAFC, no atmosphere, it's strange, right? And again, this is why it's good to take a step back. Because there's matches, let's say we look at match day 2, there's matches here where you go, well, before the tournament, I would have thought Flamenco-Chelsea, easy win for Chelsea. Loads of results. Now, they might still be an easy win, but some of these matches, I'm take a step back first and go, do you know what? I'm just going to watch the start. I want to see Flamenco-Chelsea, for example. Does Flamenco come out and look good? Because if they do, there might be some value there. Does Chelsea look a totally different team? Maybe, okay? But again, this is a new tournament. And it's really important in these situations to try and get as much information as we can. You might even sit back and go, I don't want to trade this tournament. And I totally get that. And you might say, actually, I just want to trade it. Maybe I'll trade it next time when we know a bit more about what the teams are doing, how they're doing. It'll be interesting to see in the later stages. And when this video goes out, it will be the later stages. It'll be really interested to see. I'll be interested to see how that gets on. Because ultimately, will it be a case of, we've got all the likely suspects in the quarterfinals, or will we get a couple of upsets? We're starting to look at a situation where, hey, maybe we get a Saudi Arabian team in the last 8. Maybe we get a South American team in the last 4 in the semi-finals. I don't know. But it's a really interesting thought, right? So, I'm kind of interested in this tournament. I think it's really good for the teams who are in it just to see, some of your players play. I mean, it's helpful for Inter Milan because they've got a new manager they need to bed in, and you can quite clearly see they've got a lot of rebuilding to do there. It's probably good for a team like Chelsea. Obviously, they can get some of their new signings on, especially their striker from Ipswich. I won't mention his name because of the Ipswich connections. But yeah, really interesting tournament. I'll be interested to know how you guys are trading or how you've gone. Let me know in the comments. Obviously, it will be deep into the tournament by the time this goes out. Let me know, how did you get on? Did you trade it straight away? Did you find the opposite, that you didn't want to take a step back and actually you benefited from that? I mean, there's always an argument. If you're a good enough trader, you can just watch your match and trade it as is. And I agree with that to an extent. But the important thing is you want to watch the match. I think it's very difficult to look at some of this stuff pre-match and totally gauge how it's going to go. So watch a few minutes, see what's happening, and then maybe make your decision from there, would be my advice. If you want any help with your Betfair trading, head over to betfairtradingcommunity.com. We do first month for half price for 50% off. We do exactly the same on the horse racing. That's over at lightspeedstats.com. So go over there and sign up there. And we give out a strategy. It helps you learn how to trade, and you have that strategy, you get the selection straight away and things like that. So loads of people have been enjoying that new feature we added recently. Hopefully you can go and enjoy that as well. Hope you've enjoyed the video on the Club World Cup. I'm actually excited for the later stages. I want to see how this goes. It's kind of like a sociological experiment more than anything else in terms of my excitement. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been a very mixed start, and we'll see how it goes.